everybody. Um, Today, I think this is going to be a little conversational, but I'm with Archangel Michael, my guardian angel, whose name is Danielle, and my great-grandfather, whose name is Professor William Heckler. And, you know, the thing about people like us is when we're alone, we can have our friends with us at any time by just going into meditation and calling them in. And we can spend time with them, and we can talk to them, and they can help us understand things, and they can tell us some funny jokes and help us to see the world in a way that is more understandable for us. And today I was asking Archangel Michael about this fifth dimension ascension. And I said, you know, this is not an ascension, it's we're here, but we see things in a different way. Is that wrong? He said, oh no, you're absolutely right. He said, what someone may be looking at a junkyard, but you will be looking at a field of beautiful flowers. So it's all about your perception. And then he said to me, for instance, let's talk about your great-grandfather. So let me tell you about my great-grandfather. He left home. He grew up in Switzerland. He was from Switzerland, and he left home at the age of 15 and joined the Merchant Marines. How he did that, I don't know. But he traveled the world, and he became a botanist and learned about insects, entomology. And he had this amazing collection of butterflies, gigantic, from all over the world. And not only that, but he became what people would call a magician today. He started a flea circus. And if you grew up in New York City in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you would remember the flea circus in Times Square. And it was his flea circus. And he was a strong man in a Barnum and Bailey type circus before that. So I come from a carnival circus family. His son created the first robot in the United States who smoked cigarettes. It was put in the window at Macy's in New York City and smoked cigarettes. That's what the robot did. So very innovative people. But one thing about them that's really interesting is that my grandfather, it didn't matter who he was talking to, he was a well-spoken, educated man. And he spoke to everybody as though they were also well-spoken and educated. He spent, when he was at the flea circus location in Times Square, Lady Olga, who was the bearded lady who traveled the United States as the bearded lady, would come in and sit down and just sit with him while he would feed the fleas on his arm. And they would just sit there quietly together. They knew each other for years. There was also it was a person in the circus who was all man and woman together. So, and that person would come in and talk to my grandfather. And it was just as though they were the neighbor next door. Not that there was anything different about them. And I thought, how incredible. So Archangel Michael was the one pointing this out to me. And he said, see, it runs in the family. It runs in the family. Fifth dimensional realization runs in the family. So why do you think that you're so third dimensional? And I started thinking about that. And I realized that because of Reverend Daniel and because of what he's introduced me to, from the time I was a child, I've been in this fifth dimensional kind of living. God has always been with me. I was taught that from very early age. I had experiences that people not in our circle would think I was crazy for having. And so my great-grandfather said to me today, Ginger, it's like the back of your hand. Why do you keep denying that? And he said, and you need to tell people it's like the back of your hand. Why do you keep denying it? The fifth dimension is right there, like the back of your hand. And what continues to come back to me over and over is what it says in the Course in Miracles about our egos. The ego is insane, right? So whenever I'm feeling angry, like out of control angry, or as though someone has insulted me and, you know, I'm affronted by that, put that aside. I find that when that happens to me lately, I just get quiet and I'm not angry anymore. And I'm not affronted anymore because I can surrender that ego and I can surrender my peace into, the arms of God. I don't need to be affronted. I don't need to be afraid. I may be in pain because I did have a small accident this week and I may be in a little bit of pain, but you know what? I can release that too. I can deep breathe and I've learned how to release that pain for a little while. And so all in all, my question began with, what is this fifth dimensional thing? Well, we're living in heaven on earth, as Reverend Daniel always says, and we are. This heaven is right here. As a medium, I know that the other side is right here. It's like I live in Queenstown, Annapolis is on the other side of the bay. And when I first moved here, people would say, oh, we got to go to the other side. And I'm like, oh, they're mediums? No, they were talking about going to over the bridge, right? So I did not. So they're right here. We're all here together. And if we just want to ask your loved ones who have passed over, come and talk to me when you're in meditation. Come and talk to me. Tell me what I already know. Remind me of what I already know. Remind me that I am a fifth dimensional being right here in the third dimension. And that maybe it is difficult, but only until you recognize that that's who you are. Then it's no longer difficult. There's no longer a struggle. And then I find that I have always treated people, no matter who they are, with some respect because I don't know their story. I don't know what happened to them. And so I guess I get that from my grandfather, and that's just what I wanted to talk about today, that we are all in the fifth dimension and that our ancestors, our loved ones are right here with us to help us, to let us know, to remind us of who we really are and how we came to that. And that the junkyard really is, it is like a land full of flower bulbs just beginning to bloom. It depends on your perspective. And when your ego jumps up and wants to take a bite out of someone, well, it can, but you can also ask it to just step aside, like we do when we go into meditation. These are things that we can do right now. Another thing I'm always, when we go into the fifth dimension in the future, I've been reading a lot of channelers from the 70s on to present, and they're talking about the future fifth dimension. No, I really feel that we're here now. Here we are now. And so I hope that helps you. I hope that brings you to a place where you can explore your history, your ancestors, and what they have to teach you, and to let you know that Archangel Michael and your guardian angels are right there too, all the time. So I'm grateful for this information, and I'm grateful for all of you. Thank you.